Eric Henry Liddell was a British Olympic gold medalist runner, Scottish Rugby Union international player, and Christian missionary. He was born in China to Scottish missionary parents. He attended boarding school near London, spending time when possible with his family in Edinburgh, and afterwards attended the University of Edinburgh. Eric Liddell, often called the Flying Scotsman, was born 16 January 1902, in Tientsin, China. "That boy will never be able to run again," so said Mrs. Smith, a neighbor of the Liddell family at the Shaochang Mission House in the aftermath of little Eric's bout with high fever. Eric was to prove her wrong, very wrong. Stay with me, pay attention now. At age 5, Eric returned with his family to their native Scotland for a furlough, and the next year, he and his older brother, Robert, entered the school for sons of missionaries while his parents returned to China. The school's headmaster believed strongly that sports were good for boys, and Eric quickly developed a physique that enabled him to play several bruising rugby matches a week. Soon, Eric and Robert were monopolizing first and second places in school sports. Upon graduation, Eric entered a university athletic program. Although his legs were stiff from a cycle tour of the Highlands, he surprised everyone by winning the 100-meter dash in a national meet. He was edged out by a slim margin in the 220 meters. It was the only race he ever lost in Scotland. In his final year at the university, Eric gave up rugby and concentrated on running, filling his sister's house with trophies for the sport. Meanwhile, Eric's parents knew little of his track success because he rarely wrote of his victories. Instead, he wrote about things that were truly important to him. He had joined a Bible class at school, became a member of the Church of Scotland, and became a founding member of the Crusaders Christian Union. Because of his track feats and his policy of always shaking the hands of an opponent before a race, he was invited to speak often about his faith. Although he had little public speaking ability, his messages were well received because of his sincere desire for others to know God as he did. The showdown for Eric's faith came during the 1924 Olympics when one of his events, the 100-meter dash, was scheduled for Sunday. Eric refused to run on the Sabbath, a decision that caused him to be accused of being narrow-minded and a traitor. The athletic authorities offered him the 400 meters race instead, along with his customary 200 meters. He won the bronze medal for the 200 meters, but was given little chance to even place in the 400 meters since he had never run that race in international competition. On the morning of the Olympic 400-meter final, the 11th of July 1924, Liddell was handed a folded square of paper by one of the team masseurs. Reading it later, he found the message. In the old book it says, "He that honors me I will honor. Wishing you the best of success always." Recognizing the reference to 1 Samuel 2:30, Liddell was profoundly moved that someone other than his coach believed in him and the stance he had taken. Eric flew around the track to the amazement of all who saw him run, and he not only won the gold medal, but also set a new world record. The following year, Eric left Scotland and for the next 20 years, he worked as a missionary in rural China. On one occasion he was asked if he ever regretted his decision to leave behind the fame and glory of athletics. Liddell responded, "It's natural for a chap to think over all that sometimes, but I'm glad I'm at the work I'm engaged in now. A fellow's life counts for far more at this than the other." He was imprisoned by the Japanese for aiding wounded Chinese soldiers, and he died in the Huaxian prison camp 2 years later of a brain tumor. While in the camp, he energetically taught children and organized athletic activities. Liddell suffered a lot in the camp to meet other persons' needs, all in service to his Savior and Lord. Norman Cliff later wrote a book about his experiences in the camp called The Courtyard of the Happy Way. Cliff described Liddell as the finest Christian gentleman it has been my pleasure to meet. In all the time in the camp, I never heard him say a bad word about anybody. Langdon Gilkey, who also survived the camp and became a prominent theologian in his native America, said of Liddell, "Often in an evening I would see him bent over a chessboard or a model boat, or directing some sort of square dance, absorbed, weary and interested, pouring all of himself into this effort to capture the imagination of these penned-up youths." He was overflowing with good humor and love for life, and with enthusiasm and charm. It is rare indeed that a person has the good fortune to meet a saint, but he came as close to it as anyone I have ever known. Liddell suffered for the sake of others, just as our Savior Jesus Christ suffered for our sake. World changers find problems and address them, even though it might cost them. God is still in the ministry of affecting lives through people. Make yourself available. You can be a world changer.